Yes. Environmentally, Stratford needs to be looking for the future. It bothers me that I get garbage every week, but recycling every 2 weeks. And I think that's something that you're gonna go, wait a minute, like where's the sense in that? Because I'm sure that a lot of people just get frustrated and throw it in the black bag, tag it, and away it goes. So we need to stop that. We need to go the other way. Take your garbage, put it in every 2 weeks, and recycle more every week. Same with back on the garbage. I don't understand why I pay more to drive it to the dump myself than if I just tag it at home. Like, shouldn't I be saving the city money by me going to the dump? And I've never understood that as well. For long-term sustainability, I mean, my biggest dream would be to take Stratford right off the grid, put every house on its own grid, and go really become an innovative city for the future. Let's look at Tesla and see what like Musk can do for a model city in Stratford. Let's make this the city that people go, Stratford, wow. You know, they've managed to make their whole economy green, and every house now has zero costing on electricity because they're renewing the energy. But we don't say we can't do it, we just gotta get off our laurels and spend 25 years doing it. And start with all the new homes being built and then back retrofit it. And the cost savings in the long term will be great for Stratford. We become the city that people model after. Right now, you know, you walk around the river and there's goose poop everywhere, so it's not environmentally friendly that way. And so we've got to start changing some of those practices. And everybody in town, you know, does things differently with the recycling, but, oh, sorry. 10 seconds. Well, that will be done then, fine. We'll talk this again later.
Hi, I would endorse that very much. I joined the Energy and Environment Committee in the city. I moved here from Toronto. I would very much like to see that happen in Stratford if we could be a leader. We attended this wonderful mayor from South Oxford, is that David Maybury, came and spoke in spring, and they have a zero waste, zero poverty plan, which I wish we could really adopt in the city, and I'd like to see us begin with a kind of comprehensive plan about what we're going to do about energy and environment in the city so that we can work kind of methodically through that. But as far as I know, we don't really have a plan. I know there was a draft proposal a couple of years ago, but I don't know whether it was really turned into the thing that Casey said. Anyway, but to have a plan I think would be really important so we can measure and keep track of what we're doing and really work toward a goal. And what they're doing in South Oxford, is that right? Mm-hmm. Is really, really inspiring, and they've accomplished a great deal. And we can do so many things by step. We're bringing in organics. There's many things that we can do. So I'd like, but to do that, I think we need a plan. I guess I have more time, but you can have it.
I'll take as much time as you want to give me. When it comes to the environment, I think that it's tied to everything. So I'm definitely on board with the flipping of the recycling and the garbage. I thought about that myself. My family's thought about that. This is ridiculous. Green bins are another thing. Why are we putting that in the garbage? Why are we doing that, right? When it comes to the fees and stuff associated with doing it all ourselves, I'm up in the air about it, right? But when we look at the environment, we have to look at housing, we have to look at transportation, we have to look at these things that lead into cars idling or cars driving. If our environment is suffering because we have people that have to drive 2 hours for work or drive here 2 hours for work, so why aren't people living here and working here? And then there's a smaller carbon footprint. People are riding their bikes then. People have more time to engage in the community, right? And that's all tied to just a healthier environment. So I mean, I guess I don't have a lot to say on this. I do on a bigger picture, but I mean that's really where I am at this point. Saying environment is not just like I want 3 more bags to put out with garbage. It's such an issue that's tied to every single other issue we're talking about today. 30 seconds. That's you, sir.
Yeah, okay. So I'm an organic farmer, organic gardener, so I could have a few ideas on this, but I'll stick to one that won't surprise you, Emily. We need a We need a community food digester that fits in with the green bins. It is ridiculous that we are not doing this, that we are not composting meat, bones, bread, all this kind of stuff. It needs to be going into a digester at the dump and coming out and delivered to people's gardens or available for pickup. It needs to be clean, it needs to be weed free. The junk that they're producing now, I don't use it. If I'm not using it, then I don't know anybody else who would use it. That's a huge issue. We have to be careful about what we're putting into our water. When I do garden projects around town, I'm incredibly careful about the use of fertilizers. I don't think that's even on a lot of people's thoughts. You go to the store, they buy Miracle Grow, and they just put it in their planters, and then they overwater, and it goes down the drains, and then we get these big algae blooms, and the river looks like crap and smells horrible. I mean, a lot of that has to do with farming. I don't know how much the golf course is responsible for that. If you have this golf course and you have this beautiful green grass right up to this tiny little, this little creek, why isn't there a buffer zone there? There should be at least 50 feet on either side, make the golfers a challenge, and make the golf course pretty. I think that's a big issue. I also think that we gotta get people biking. I was shocked when we built this beautiful square. I love the square downtown. We put a road right through it and send buses down. Why are we telling people that they can drive up to the doorstep of any place they want to? That's absurd to me. I don't mean to get upset, but it bothers me that people still think that we should be able to drive right up to the door front. Oh, well, elderly people. Well, then help them. Find a way to help them that doesn't involve burning all this fuel, That's a big issue. So we need to I think, the Cooper site, put a big parking garage in there, make it cheap, 3-4 day parking for tourists, have bicycles for the rent, have shuttles, and say, we encourage you to come to our city and park your car here and leave it. I could go on and on, but I'll leave it there.
My name is Carlo. I will say something about what they say. It's specific and because of that, you see all the time a lot of animals die in the street and then a lot of accidents in the city increasing because everybody always in the rush and then because no one control the inspired people driving so fast all the time. And I think it has to be something like to be in the city because we're in the city, but sometimes you feel that you're in the highway because everything is so fast. And you have to see, wait, even when you stop in some place, you gotta be careful, because people don't think, and they have to be more, I think if people can see it, control, slow down, this is like tourist area, whatever, and people, you know what I mean? This is something I think it has to be done for control of the thing. That's it.
Okay. I'm Sartaj. I like a lot of the things that you've all said. I personally water is important to me, so I feel like I really do feel that we should be leaders here and see what other people have done in other towns that are progressive, and also having good, clean water to drink. The basic necessities are really, really important. The river also important, but cycling, to make it more of a cycling-friendly city. I want to cycle. I'm a business owner. I'm in a hurry all the time. I don't really want to be biking downtown. But there's an issue here that bikes, I don't have a home where I have a safe place to keep my bike, and bikes get stolen here. We've had, bikes stolen in the place I live. And it's just daily. That's what I'm concerned about. I would like to bike here, and so just I think that's very, very important. One of the reasons I moved to a smaller town is that I wouldn't have to be driving, and I have a car here now because I'm in a small town. I didn't have a car for most of my life, so yeah, that's one of the main things that I would really like to see happen here.
Coming from a perspective of a younger person, and in all honesty, I'm totally a supporter of the environmental support. I want to support the environment, but I feel like I'm still not given the utensils as an independent youth to really know exactly what are the steps to recycle properly. I come from a small town where we didn't have recycling, and Stratford is still a diverse group where a lot of people probably don't know how to recycle properly, and I want to know, but I don't. Is there the resources that are inviting enough and captivating to help inform other people as to how important it is, and to actually want to make those steps? I would love to compost, and have that to do, but again, as an independent youth who you know, I work as much as I can to pay for what I need, and that's, you know, like, and I want to contribute, but I just don't feel like I have the utensils, like, knowledge-wise. So informing, and I know there's probably lots of seminars, but like, it doesn't hurt to hit the nail with a hammer, like, let's really nail it in for something that, yeah, is earth concerned. So, that's my thought.
I'm gonna use your 45 seconds to say there's an app that actually tells you what is recyclable in Stratford. I think it's My Waste.
Great.
My Waste app. You can put it on your phone, and it'll change based on your location. I'm not supposed to weigh in as moderator, but.
Is that available on the
That's
Stratford
knowledge.
website? You just go to the website.
Or just
But
go to
still,
your app
I didn't
store.
know that.
No, I didn't
So,
know that either. It's
interesting.
brilliant. That was the point I was
Can
gonna
text
raise,
in
that
if
people
you
don't know
have
what to put in.
I think it went out in the taxes or the paper bills too, but.
Then it's on their website too, but yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get through.
Which website?
It's the My Waste app.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you all after.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Don't have much to say. I fully agree with him with the smart city. I think that's future looking at it, and it's awesome. I like to hear that as someone who wants to potentially stay here in Stratford. And I guess for biking wise, it sucks to not have biking lanes. I'm biking on the sidewalk, get yelled at by people, or a cop will tell me to get on Ontario Street. I'm not biking on Ontario Street. There's no way I'm going down that road.
No.
And then, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe incentives too for having, like a bike tour for people around town to like, this restaurant, you bike here, you get something, or we'll give you a percentage or something like, and maybe have a tour around Stratford where these bikes are, if you're coming on a bike, maybe hit each point as you're here in Stratford.
Counselor Henderson, I've started your timer.
Uh-oh, so I'll try to talk really fast. Great ideas, everybody, and I feel really bad that in this group, people didn't know all the stuff that we actually have going on in the city. It feels really rough to hear that, and I'm not sure what we can do about that. That's the first time I heard about the buffer zone on the golf course. I want to look into that. And you're saying about recycling properly. You know, there's, on the city website, it tells you everything what you can recycle, and then there's actually a link that you can go to BRA and watch the environmental video on how to do it, right? And we sold over 650 composters when the city was selling them. We still sell them for $25 with no tax or anything. And right now we're looking at a program that we can hopefully reduce the garbage idea, because if we can get the funding and get everything going, and it takes 2 years to build the building once everything's in place, then we'll be needing something like 9,000 tons of compost a year. So we're gonna have to go outside of Stratford, because they figure Stratford will make around 1,000 tons, and we're gonna need more. And then we're gonna be converting all that to methane gas and selling it to Union Gas. So that's gonna be a big program, and so that will drive, hopefully, all the stuff that's in the garbage that stinks, so that you could go longer, you know, every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or whatever. I'll tell you, my kids made me an environmentalist by saying you had to recycle, right? And then the city put up the garbage tags, and I thought, I am not paying for garbage. And I was putting 3 and 4 out a week. And I if I'm lucky, if I put one out every 2 weeks now. But that drove our garbage out to the landfill, reduced by 67%. Recycling picked up that much because people are paying for it. And the reason we have that you pay more at the landfill, it was actually my idea in one way, because we are paying for it to be picked up in the city once a week, so we don't want to pay for it twice. We want the people that are coming out on a Saturday or whatever to drop their stuff off. That's the main reason for that. It's already paid for.
Thank you. Okay, now we have an opportunity. We have 6 minutes remaining. Can I see if there's anyone who, okay, so 1, 2, 3 to start. We'll do the 2 minutes again.
Okay, just one idea around, one thing I find that's not super community-like here is there's no one place to get a bunch of information. So, for example, if there was a way, old-fashioned way would be a big bulletin board at the city square to get information. You know, even just at Market Square, we don't know events happening. Like there's, you know, I know that there's been so many events, and I said, really, that's happening? And so something like that, and So it would be wonderful to have something like a, yes.
In the square, those metal things, they all have a thing you can put your phone on and you can get all the information you want.
But not everybody has a.
No, and I don't
A lot of
either.
our
One at a
elderly here
time.
don't, yeah.
One at a time.
Yeah, so, sorry, okay.
And I don't have it either, but everything's on the city website too.
Oh, right, you're,
Was it something next?
Yeah.
Okay, two things. Denny, your point was great about riding your bike on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's a simple fix. We just paint little pictures of walking and on one side and pictures of bikes on the other, so people know to walk on one side and bike on the other. The problem is the confusion. That's just a little bit of paint and a dotted line, so
Yeah.
that is an easy fix. And I come from York Region. We had what was called the red book, it was for all services. There was the blue book for that type of stuff, and then there was the red book that was for social services. But those two books, you knew where to go, you pulled it out, there it was. And Stratford should look at that approach and look at York Region, what they did, probably 20 years ago, where they did just that. They compiled everything. I think at one time we called it the purple pages, and then it was the blue pages, and then they split the two into the two different groups. So that's what we need to be looking at, because sometimes some people don't want to just go to the app. The app is great, but the yellow pages nobody looks at anymore. But those other ones, if it's relative, they will. And you can call it the purple pages and flip to the app, so you know what you're looking for, because we do have that problem. And I'm tired of finding out about events in the Beacon after they've happened. And that's because of our city bylaws that say you can't put signs up. So then you can't find out what's going on, and that has to change, that really does. But that's not
Carlos,
gonna
you're
come.
next.
So I want to talk about organic food, and I saw many play organic, see organic stuff, and then I don't think everybody has access to that, because sometimes it's quite expensive for a lot of people. I would like to understand what it means organic food, why did you use it to make it, see it healthy for people, why it's not so cheap, easy for everybody, and then make more people go into the like, eat all this kind of thing, not too much frozen packet, stuff like that. Organic food should be cheap for everybody, it's good, we think it's good for everybody, why no? Everybody can eat it, in each plate we have organic food, let's make it every day, every weekend, organic thing is cheaper for everybody, and then people start getting healthy, you know what I mean? Yes, I think it's important.
I think, yeah, I'm moderator, I won't respond. Yeah.
Just to touch on the composting again and the green bins, is there not, can't it just decompose? Like, can't we collect it and have it turn into soil instead of trying to spend years harnessing it for methane gas? Can't we just compost it on a large scale?
Well, we do composting at the landfill, and they have to turn it all the time, right? But it's not, you really have to have a good program in there.
And heat.
And it's better if you can reuse it.
Well, I understand that, but isn't there like a cheaper way in the interim?
Well, there is
until-
composters, and we're doing digester tests right now in the schools. The Upper Thames has bought some, and the students are gonna try it. Like doing the digester, because you gotta dig them in, the big cones, and we had a girl come in and.
But you need land to do that,
About
right?
3 years, in people's properties, yeah,
But if they're in condos or something, the green bins.
they can't, no, you have to have property for that. And I wanted to touch on what you were saying, I can't remember what it was. I know there's a.
Oh, the red book.
Signage?
Yeah, the signage, you can put signs up, we have yellow signs all over the city, that's where you're allowed to put signs on.
Okay.
So they're all in the same spot, and nearly every business downtown will put your sign, if you have a poster or something, they'll put it in there. And the health unit has a huge list of where they all are, like laundromats, all the places, like Canadian Tire, everybody that has bulletin boards,
Is that
you
on
can
our
put them on.
map? Is that on our city of Stratford map?
What?
That little dot, that where that information is?
Is that for election signs?
No, different elections. No, when I go to tourism, when I go on a map, there's nothing that says information sign here, there, around town.
Oh,
That would
like
be
the
kinda
yellow
useful.
and.
Oh, the yellow
stuff.
things?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, like designated.
that'll be on
Yeah,
a
I have
map
actually
somewhere.
not seen one, and I've been in Stratford 7 years, so.
It's a hit and miss, like not all
Email,
bulletins have the same information.
No, they're all different.
Yeah.
So for example, like if I went to Bayfield, in front of the library, there's a bulletin board.
I love that one.
I love that, and that's more community, and maybe there's a modern way to do it, but where it's easier for people to.
So the
There's
side of
one
City Hall,
inside our
there's 2
library
yellow,
too.
there's one on each side of
Yes.
City Hall, they're yellow,
Yeah.
and you can put your posters on there. There's one over, where that gate thing is, that's by the CIBC Bank.
Yeah.
There's, I think there's one down by,
Just so for events.
there's a whole bunch of different places, yeah.
Events around
Yes.
Market Square and a few things that the whole community should know about.
And we just hired an events coordinator, she just started, so
What's her
she's got, haven't met her yet.
Does she have a name though? Do we know her name?
No,